Hello?
I'm just no, stop. What?
Ask me a random question.
How?
Are you a slave?
No! Oh my god!
Well, wow. Ask me a random question.
Why are you black?
Ask me a random question.
Why are you black?
Kylie.
How's that funny? Okay. Hello?
Hello?
Ask me a random question.
Are you black?
Hello?
Hello?
Ask me a random question.
Is it true that you still pick cotton?
I'm glad I recorded that. Exactly. Hello?
What up?
Ask me a random question.
Why are you black?
Wow, you're like the 20th to like 100th person to ask me that question.
If I don't get a scientific answer, we're gonna start having some f***ing problems.
There is no problems. Why are we any race that we are? We were born it.
I'm not our race, I'm just racist. I'm not our race, I'm just racist. I'm not our race, I'm just racist.
Okay, man. Good talk.
Bombings, burnings, corruption, and murder.
It really was about organized hatred.
100 years ago, a shadowy group called the Black Legion amassed power and a sizable following across the American Midwest. Historian Dana Frank tells Inside Edition Digital.
The Black Legion was a, paramilitary fascist clandestine organization that was founded in the mid-1920s. It was an offshoot of the Ku Klux Klan. I think a lot of people have heard of the Klan, but not of the Black Legion. And the Black Legion was much more secretive. By the mid-1930s, it had, we think, probably 300,000 to 500,000 members. And that's a lot of people.
The group's numbers soared as the Great Depression threatened the livelihoods of so many.
Stocks collapsed, factories shut down, businesses passed out of existence, and the ranks of those already unemployed swelled into a huge army. Unemployment swept the nation like a horrible pestilence.
Fear and economic uncertainty fed the Black Legion. Frank says it appealed to white Protestant men who pledged allegiance to the group in secret torchlit ceremonies.
There was an initiation ritual that would happen out on somebody's farm in the middle of the night. And you'd be surrounded by as many as 1,000 men in robes, and they wore robes that were black with hoods and pirate caps. Now you tell me what the pirate caps were about. It was about these guys having fun terrorizing people. They had to kneel with a gun at their side, put a hand on the Bible, and swear to eliminate all black people, Jews and Catholics, and anybody who opposed the Black Legion.
Black Legion members engaged in a terror campaign meant to suppress anybody who wasn't white and Protestant.
They would take people out and beat them. They burned down restaurants. They burned down all kinds of other structures. And people were really seriously terrified of them. They took over the Federal Relief Office in Lima, and an inspector went and interviewed people there, and they were just everybody was terrified to talk about it. Almost all the 48 employees there were in the Legion, and they only gave relief jobs to members of the Legion and their friends.
Over 50 people died at the hands of the Black Legion. Among them, it's suspected, was Earl Little, father of civil rights leader Malcolm X.
His family believed they left him for dead to be run over by a subway track and made it look like an accident.
Though it stretched across the upper Midwest, the group was headquartered in the town of Lima, Ohio.
In the town of Lima alone, 1 in 5 white men belonged to the Black Legion, so including the mayor, the chief of detectives, the chief of police, the county prosecutor who was elected by the Black Legion in exchange for never prosecuting them. And he went on to serve 4 terms in Congress. His name was Robert F. Jones.
Few in power did anything to stop the Black Legion from extending its influence and terrorizing people.
All these people that knew about it, it was their job to stop it. Chief of police, that did not stop it and knew about it, and that goes all the way up to the head of the WPA, the relief authorities in Washington, and J. Edgar Hoover, head of the FBI, knew all about it. He had for years had people report, agents and other people reporting to him about in detail of the Black Legion, and chose to not to do anything about it. And, there's this whole question of why. And it is apparently because Roosevelt was beholden to the Southern Democrats who, in order to pass the New Deal, and the Southern Democrats were embedded with the Klan. Roosevelt and Hoover knew that if they went after the Black Legion, then that would then reveal things about the Southern Democrats and the Klan, and they didn't want to touch it.
The Black Legion met its end when enough people spoke out against it, lifting the veil of secrecy that gave it so much power.
All those people that informed to the postal inspectors, to the FBI, to relief authorities, to all kinds of people, to prosecutors, to detectives. And those people were unbelievably brave. Now, some of them were former Black Legion members, but there's also just ordinary people. There are 2 white factory workers in Lima that wrote to Hoover, saying you need to take these people on. This is what's going on.
That led to the prosecutions of Black Legion members and leaders. A murder trial in Detroit implicating several of the group's members generated a lot of press. It even inspired a popular movie starring Humphrey Bogart.
They'll kill me for telling you. Them Black Legion guys don't fool. I'm not fooling either. You're going to quit that gang. I can't get out. Nobody ever lived to get out of the Legion.
The Black Legion did fall apart institutionally and very quickly.
Dana Frank gives a detailed and chilling history of the Black Legion in her book, What We Can Learn from the Great Depression, Stories of Ordinary People and Collective Action in Hard Times. She cautions that even though the Black Legion is no more, groups like it can and do spring up again.
You can see it all over again when you get to the late 70s and the factories start shutting down and going overseas. All the deindustrialization of the upper Midwest, and then this stuff comes back, right? And it's, surprise, surprise, people have this legacy that the answer is going to be hate, as opposed to looking up and having class politics and talking about the billionaires. It's like, oh, you look down, you say those people are the problem, and that armed struggle against them is the answer.
The Black Legion may be a past we are doomed to repeat.
It's clear that there's a long fascist tradition in the United States, and that we have to acknowledge that this is part of a long line of hate that goes way back and is still there today.
Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research.